April 5th, 1933 is a very important day in American history. It's also a very important day in general because April 5th is Satoshi's birthday. But where did Satoshi get the birth date of April 5th from? Well, April 5th, 1933, former President FDR placed an executive order forcing Americans to trade their gold to fiat currency. And we're going to talk about why this is so important and how it directly relates to Bitcoin and the liberties that Bitcoin provides us with. Before 1933, America had the Great Depression. My ancestors actually came to America right before, during this time on both sides. And the reason why they came to America was to escape. Some of them wanted to have a better quality of life because the places that they lived in were not good at all. So they came to America, had no idea that the Great Depression was about to happen. And I heard stories growing up. But basically what ended up happening to solve the Great Depression, similar to what we've seen in 2020 and beyond, is the printing of money, the mass amount of debt. So how can a country stop that or kind of erase their poor decisions that they made? Well, you control the money supply, you control value, and that is exactly what this executive order did. It forced people with a significant amount of gold to turn it over to the Federal Reserve. In return, they received fiat dollars. Well, what the president then did was devalued those US dollars to pay off the debt that was accrued during the Depression. And the president gave people literally 1 month to do this. The deadline to surrender your gold or trade it for fiat currency, paper currency, was May 5th of 1933. And the issue with this is that they are allowing the US government, the Federal Reserve, to control the money supply, to control value. The United States of America has the most gold in the world. In 2021, the United States holds 8,134 metric tons in Fort Knox, supposedly. But guess what? Fort Knox has never been audited, not once. And we have no idea if that amount is even true. The next country behind the US that owns a large supply of gold is going to be Germany. And they clock in at approximately 3,363 metric tons of. Now you see, the issue with not being able to audit what Fort Knox actually has is problematic, okay? Because we're basically taking the Federal Reserve's, taking public servants' word for it, stating that we have X amount of gold or we have X amount of resources, but there's no way to prove it, none at all. And this is why Bitcoin was created. Bitcoin was created because you could track it. We know how much Bitcoin is in circulation. We know how much Bitcoin will ever be made. And we know exactly how much Bitcoin certain people hold for the most part. And Bitcoin solves a lot of problems. And one of the problems it solves, in addition to being able to be tracked, I mean, that kind of goes as accountability. Sorry, my babe walked in, got a little bit distracted. But anyways, Bitcoin holds people accountable because we're able to actually see how much certain people have when a transaction is done, etc. And that is important. It's known as being transparent, which our public servants haven't done in I don't know how long. Another thing that Bitcoin solves is you cannot remove Bitcoin from a person. Just as long as you hold the keys to your Bitcoin, nobody can take that from you. Nobody. The only way you could potentially lose your Bitcoin is if you mess up your private seed phrase, you don't practice good custody practices, somebody hacks you because you didn't practice good custody practices, good OPSEC with your private seed phrase, or if you leave it on a centralized exchange. Centralized exchange are not safe. You should know this by now after the crypto contagion. But the point of all of this is that with Bitcoin, Bitcoin provides a lot of solutions for the current financial system. Right now in America, we are in a mass amount of debt. And it keeps growing. We keep sending money overseas. All of these things are happening. Our dollar is being devalued. A lot of people around the world don't want to trade with us. They don't want to use our dollar as a currency anymore. And on top of it, inflation. Inflation is absolutely out of control. Absolutely out of control. Home prices are crazy. Cost of living prices are crazy. Food prices. People are having to actually use credit cards to pay for day-to-day things, which shouldn't happen in the US any way, shape, or form. But Bitcoin does solve a lot of these problems. Is it the end-all be-all? No. And the interesting thing about Bitcoin is it only works if the economy that is valuing it, the marketplace, knows how to use it properly. So even though I appreciate Bitcoin, I still do think that there are going to be a little bit of pushback from the masses. It's a lot harder to use in fiat currency, and we're going to get that CBDC push through. But I do think that Bitcoin does have the opportunity to potentially level the playing field out and truly help Americans and other people globally have complete control of their money without a third party like the US government stepping in and saying you need to hand it over to the Fed today. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and of course set alert babes. I will see you tomorrow live 10 a.m. PST. Bye-bye.